It's time for another episode of Why I Want, the series where we take a look at prospects in the upcoming 2020 NHL draft and we talk about the good things about them, the things that make them valuable to me, and the reasons why I would want them for my hockey team. Now, of course, this is a different series than it was in previous years. We would always focus on Vancouver Canucks targeted prospects, guys that I wanted for the Canucks. But this year, because I follow different teams and because I have fans who are fans of different teams, we're just covering the prospects in general, not really related to any specific team. But today, in this video, we're taking a look at a guy who I honestly have underrated in the past. This is a player who I had in the top 10 to start off the season, but who has really risen the ranks and is giving justification as to why some people legitimately believe he could be a top 4, a top 5, maybe even a top, dare I say, 3 player in this draft. Let's talk about the Austrian phenom himself, the Ottawa 67's Marco Rossi, a player who, yeah, I know, he's pretty old. Marco Rossi is a guy who, at the moment, he is 18 years old. He was born September 23rd, 2001. He was just a few days away from being eligible for the 2019 NHL entry draft. So, he's got a full year on a lot of these other prospects, and Quinton Byfield is the most obvious one. He's one of the youngest guys in this draft class of players. Rossi is one of the oldest. But, regardless of the age, Marco Rossi is putting up a resume that nobody looking at the prospect stats can ignore. Because Rossi right now, as a 5'9" center, yeah, that's right, he's only 5'9", he's not the biggest guy in the world, is currently leading the OHL in points, with 94 points in 43 games played. Now that is a crazy, crazy number. Taking a look at what he did last year when he was 17 for the majority of the year, he had 65 points in 53 games. And that was immediately coming over to the OHL after playing years and years of hockey in the Swiss U17 and U20 and U15 leagues. So he's adapted really well to North American ice ever since stepping into the Ottawa 67 system last year. And now, Marco Rossi is a guy who people have ranked mostly in the top 10. HockeyProspect.com has him at 8, Future Considerations has him at 7, ISS Hockey at 9, but some people are making legitimate arguments that he could be a top 5 talent, and there's a very, very, very good list of reasons as to why you can make that argument. Before we get into those reasons, though, let's go over some of the historical numbers that Marco Rossi has been putting up this year. Amongst U19 players in the OHL, Marco Rossi's points per game is better, currently, than Connor McMichael's this year, than Mitch Marner's in his draft year, than John Tavares in his draft -1 year, than Dylan Strome in his draft year, and Matthew Tkachuk in his draft year, and Taylor Hall in his draft year. Marco Rossi is producing more than all of these guys. So let's get into the reasons why he's able to produce at this crazy, crazy rate. Because it's the same list of reasons that people are laying out as to why Rossi could potentially play in the NHL next year. Now, obviously, he is older, which does give him more time of development against these other NHL prospects. But the biggest thing that Rossi has in his toolset that I think can really translate well into the NHL is his overall poise. When it comes to the word poise, you think about a few players who are able to calmly assess things with the puck. Guys who are patient, guys who don't crumble under pressure, guys who are just able to go out there, do their thing, and regardless of the adversity, regardless of the pressure, regardless of all these other external factors, they go out there and they do things their way. Marco Rossi has done that the entire year, and it's why he's been able to put up so many points. Marco Rossi's game revolves around possession, and that's the biggest thing that you're going to notice if you watch this player. He always loves having the puck on his stick. And when he has the puck on his stick, the only way it's going to come off his stick is if he finds a guy in front or he has a really nice pass back to somebody else. He rarely gives the puck up, and he rarely tries to force passes that don't work. Marco Rossi is like the general of an army out there. He's able to control everything, and almost every intricate detail is just a few moves away from his fingertips. And when Rossi sees an opening, he takes it, and he usually gets it through. There are so many highlights, so many passes that Rossi has done this season, where you just take a look at it, he's calmly holding onto it, he's on a defender, oh no biggie, they can't shove him off the puck. And all of a sudden he spins around, throws it up on the backhand, right up the slot to a guy who's trailing, he shoots it and he scores. Or on the power play, Rossi likes to hang out in that Ovechkin spot on the left side. He'll circle around, go back and forth, assess the situation, and if he doesn't like what he sees, he turns around again. If somebody tries to challenge him, he'll deke him out. It's pretty easy. Then, either he goes back to the point when nobody's expecting it, or he sees an open lane through the slot, he shoves it across, and all of a sudden it's a backdoor goal. Rossi plays the game so calmly, and it looks so effortless, that when you watch this player, you're just wondering to yourself, how does he do it? The guy makes the game look so easy, and his passes are so efficient and so accurate, that this player doesn't even look like somebody who belongs in this league. And for a guy who is a draft-eligible player, leading the league with 94 points, and who is absolutely controlling things offensively, it's absolutely nuts to see what he's doing. Out of the entire draft class, Marco Rossi averages 1.6 primary points per game. The only other player in this draft class to average 1.6 primary points per game is Alexis Lafreniere, and Rossi has a higher points per game than he does. We talked about that involvement stat in the Shane Wright video yesterday. Let's bring that back up here for Rossi. The Ottawa 67s at the time of this recording, which is early in the morning on Friday, they currently have 237 goals. Marco Rossi has 94 assists. That means that Marco Rossi has been involved in 39.6% of all Ottawa 67's offense this year. Almost 40% of every single goal the 67s have scored this year has a Marco Rossi point attached to it. And that's not surprising to me. The guy's got 23 minutes of ice time per game. And as a center, he's a guy who's totally taken control of this team, and there's a good reason for it. Not only is his offense so deadly where he's able to set up guys like crazy and so efficiently, but his defensive pressure is so good too. He plays very, very properly in his own zone. He rarely makes a mistake when it comes to tracking a guy and sticking with a guy and giving up his check. He rarely faults on those areas. He always has an active stick, and he always seems to know what to do, too. He can pickpocket guys whenever he wants, but he never forces it. He rarely puts himself in a position of danger, and almost every defensive maneuver he does is done for a reason, and it's a good one. He's got a pretty accurate shot, but at the same time, he is shooting at like 20% this year, so he's probably going to have to shoot a little bit more to commit to a sustainable shooting percentage, because obviously as he goes on, he's not going to be able to sustain 20. So maybe I'm nitpicking here, but he could bother to shoot the puck a little bit more. A lot of his goals are actually scored by driving to the net, oddly enough. But all of these skills combine into a player who, at the NHL level, he's got an absolutely sky-high ceiling. As a guy who can do it all at both ends of the ice, put up, dare I say, 90, 95 points in the NHL if everything goes right, and if he translates from the OHL to the NHL efficiently, by the time he hits his prime, this guy could be one of the top point scorers in the league, and that is insane. I don't say that about many players, but the ones who boast skill sets that relate to that definitely deserve it. So, Marco Rossi, man, he's really, really good. Hope you enjoyed this video, Social Life Troll 99, and bye.